What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, I want to speak on Caitlin Clark, right? And 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 talk about like the appeal that Caitlin Clark has for like the older generation, right? Now, I think personally, I think the younger generation probably like Caitlin Clark more so because like the 3 point, and she can, she shoot those logo threes from distance, right? And so for the older generation, that's not really, it's cool and everything that she really can shoot those long distance threes and stuff like that. That's cool, right? But for the older generation, it goes a little bit deeper than that. And by that I mean like the appreciation, like people who appreciate the game, and like when you're watching somebody like Caitlin Clark, and you see somebody who performs the way she do, that's somebody that you can get into, right? And so in basketball, that has been missing for a while, right? And personally, in my opinion, it's been missing since Kobe Bryant has retired. Like when you had back in the day when you had like Magic and Mike and all those guys, the old school guys, they they practiced, they performed at a certain level. And watching those guys back in the day, you get used to seeing basketball players perform at a certain level. You get used to watching these guys get better and better every year. And so with Magic and Bird, and you had Michael Jordan, and you had after Michael Jordan, then you got Kobe Bryant. And one thing all those guys had in common was the fact that they were just, I mean, like their level of competitiveness was like it was something that, like, as a fan, that you could really get into. Like it's almost like you living vicariously through these guys, right? And like I said, when you watching today's athlete basketball players, it's like a disconnect, right? You're not really getting that quality of basketball from a player that you believe is like dedicated to the game the way that we're used to seeing basketball players be dedicated to the game. And so once Kobe Bryant retired, it was like a fall off as far as like performances and players who are dedicated to the game. And now that you have somebody like Caitlin Clark, who is like, in my opinion, Caitlin Clark is a throwback ball player. She's somebody who is just like, like back in the day, we would call somebody like Caitlin Clark, we would call her like a gym rat, like somebody who's just, they just eat, sleep, and just like everything about them is just basketball. And so when you have a person that's dedicated to basketball like that, we like to follow those people because we know, and watch these people because we know that you're going to get like a certain level of performance from them, and it's going to be entertaining, it's going to be fun to watch. And like I said, and I'm not even like a LeBron hater, but I never really got that vibe from LeBron. Like LeBron was dedicated to the game like those guys back in the day was. And the same thing with like the rest of the NBA, right? You don't really, like, from those guys, you're getting either a dunk or a 3 pointer. And so the mid-range game is not in there. The tough defense is not in there. But now that you're watching the WNBA, you're getting all of that. It's like you're not even really getting cheated out of anything, because you get to see somebody who is basically, like I said, like a gym rat, somebody who's just living and just going at it like basketball players supposed to go at it. And so that's for the older generation. That's why I think there's so much excitement around Caitlin Clark. Now, the younger generation, like I said, they in love with the logo threes and stuff like that. But we like to see like some strategy to the game, and not that Caitlin Clark is the only one uh in the WNBA who plays with strategy and who can play at that all three levels. But she's somebody who can, she's good at everything, right? And I remember people saying the same thing about Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan was great at everything. Like he could beat you in so many different ways that it really made it hard to beat him. And so when you see somebody come along who can shoot the 3-pointer, somebody who is a excellent passer, and then and I was just looking at her stats. Like, she played Saturday against Sabrina Ionescu, and she had like 8 rebounds. You know what I mean? So she's just doing everything. She had assists. Like, she had assists. As a matter of fact, she really outplayed Sabrina Ionescu. And Sabrina Ionescu is somebody who is, in my opinion, she's one of the top guards in the WNBA. And so let me look at both of their stats, right? So, all right, so Caitlin Clark in the last game against the Liberty, she had 32 points. Sabrina Ionescu had 34 points, right? Caitlin Clark had 8 rebounds, right? Sabrina Ionescu had 2 rebounds, right? Then Caitlin Clark had 9 assists. Sabrina Ionescu had 4 assists. Both of them had 1 steal, and then Caitlin Clark finished off with 2 blocks. So that's what I mean. Like, when you're talking about somebody who's just doing everything, just playing the game of basketball, because basketball is not just about scoring, and it's not just about assists. She had rebounds. She almost really had a triple. She was 2 rebounds and 1 assist from getting a triple double. When somebody had that type of impact on a basketball game, so she scored 32 points, had 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and she blocking shots as a guard. As a guard. So that's what you talk about. That's what you mean when you say, this person is a basketball player. A basketball player can do everything. And so with Caitlin Clark doing everything, and you don't really, like I said, to compare her against Sabrina Ionescu. Sabrina Ionescu, like, her stat line is very impressive. But then when you put it next to Caitlin Clark's stat line, you said, wow, she's rebounding as a guard, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and she's blocking shots. That's crazy. That's what you talk about, somebody playing basketball. Like, you're not just waiting for Caitlin Clark to get the basketball, and then you're going to see, okay, she's going to shoot a logo 3 here. She's playing all over the floor, and that right there is what the older generation. That's like what people appreciate. Same thing, like, with Kobe Bryant. When he had to play defense, he got steals, he got rebounds, block shots. I mean, that's basketball. It's more to basketball than just scoring. And so we're watching somebody now who understands that. We're watching somebody who's actually doing more than just score. Like, because when I first saw Caitlin Clark play in college, and all of the, like, the hype and the excitement that came with watching Caitlin Clark. Okay, cool. She's hitting the logo threes, right? But then when you watch and you say, okay, she's playing basketball. She's more than just somebody who's going to jack up threes. She do more than just pass the ball. She affect the game in so many different ways. And when you got somebody who affect the game in so many different ways, it's hard to game plan against her, because she can do so much. And so it's a joy to watch a basketball player that has come into the league that's doing that. And I think, so you have people who follow the NBA because they want to see good basketball. And if you got to go to the WNBA to watch that, then you just got to do what you got to do. Now, I will say this. Those two teams, OKC Thunder and the Indiana Pacers, right? I like both of those guys, like both of those teams. I like their style of play of basketball. I like what I'm seeing there. And so if these two young teams continue to trend in that direction, you got kids shooting a mid-range jumper. You got kids who on these teams who can play defense and offense. Guys who can do just multiple things on the court. So that'll be good for men's basketball. And that's what men's basketball need in order for them to get back to to where they were back, a few years ago. But right now, it's all about Caitlin Clark, and really deservedly so. You know what I mean? She playing basketball the way the way it's supposed to be played. And that's why, um diehard basketball fans, that's why, they like watching Caitlin Clark. And so that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.